Mario Kart isn't exactly a horror game. You're never going to be racing down a track with Toad and start soiling your trousers out of pure fear, but that doesn't mean Mario Kart doesn't have some spooky tracks that we can rank for Halloween. Now, I won't really be ranking these on their spookiness alone since none of them are going to creep you out, so it'll just be regular criteria such as the creativity of the track, how fun it is, and the replayability. So grab your torches and pitchforks and let's rank every spooky track in Mario Kart from worst to best. Number 8 through 6, SNES Ghost Valley 1, 2, and 3. I'm clumping all these in together because they're very similar to each other and my opinion is essentially the same with all three. Ghost Valley is of course from the SNES, so it is very flat and not super interesting layout wise. It does have a nice spooky feel to it with the booze in the background and the eerie music that's pretty uncomfortable. In terms of just being good tracks, Ghost Valley is pretty average, but in terms of spookiness, it's actually really good. It's just not better than the other ones on this list. Solid spooky tracks for sure, and a nice change of pace from the 10,000 Mario circuits in this game. Number 5, GBA Boo Lake. Boo Lake is essentially a better version of the Ghost Valley tracks. The track itself feels very similar, but there are some improvements in Boo Lake. The most notable one is the background, since in Ghost Valley it's just pitch black, but in Boo Lake there's a big creepy mansion and some super scary purple trees. But I think the best part is there's boos all over the course holding candles for you, which is actually really nice of them and reminds us that ghosts are people too. Or I guess they were. Anyway, I like this track and it feels perfect for Halloween. Number 4, N64 Banshee Boardwalk. I'm not really sure where people stand on this track. Do they like it? Do they hate it? I have no idea. But I'm somewhere in the middle. Basically, you're racing on this super long pier in the middle of the night. I guess it's also haunted since there's booze flying around, and there's a section where you get attacked by a bunch of bats, so I guess that's spooky. This course isn't exactly that spooky, but I definitely think it qualifies for this list, even though it's not that great. I've just personally never been a big fan of Banshee Boardwalk, but it's fine for what it is. Number 3, GBA Broken Pier. Broken Pier is basically just a better version of Boo Lake. Instead of a mansion and trees in the background, it's evil looking mountains, which I guess is more spooky. That's really the only big difference. The track layout is pretty similar and it uses the same music. I just have to give the edge to Broken Pier. Number 2, Wii U Twisted Mansion. I've honestly never been a huge fan of Twisted Mansion. I often forget that it even exists, but it's still a decently spooky course. It's a pretty basic haunted mansion. I'd say the most notable part is when the mansion becomes flooded out of nowhere for no apparent reason. And at the end there's some boos and knight armor trying to hit you with a hammer, so that's fun. Overall, it's a pretty forgettable track, especially with all the great ones that Mario Kart 8 has to offer, but it is a solid spooky course. Number 1, DS Luigi's Mansion. Luigi's Mansion is a good track from Mario Kart DS that's of course based on the game with the same name, but even if you don't like Luigi's Mansion the game, you can still have fun racing on the course. Now sadly, the actual mansion part of the track is very small, but it's still a good time, and then you go outside and drive in mud while avoiding creepy walking trees. It's honestly not one of my favorites from the DS, but that also says a lot about how great the DS tracks are. Either way, this is the best spooky course in Mario Kart, and it's a great one to play on Halloween. And that was every spooky track in Mario Kart ranked from worst to best. Let me know what you think of the list and if you would change anything. Thanks for watching and have a great Halloween.